Are you ready for the first weather for Weather Geeks of 2019? Hi everyone, it's Eric here with the Valley's most in-depth weather forecast. We took last evening off from Weather Geeks because the weather was very quiet and the Buckeyes were on, so took the night off from this long-range weather discussion, but we'll get back into it this evening. And before we get to the longer range, I want to talk about the past just a little bit. First 2 days of 2019 have been forecast hits for us. We hit the high temperature right on the mark today at 38 degrees. That was what it actually was earlier today. So 2 for 2. This is the 2-degree guarantee that I show you sometimes. I kind of got out of the habit of showing it to you during the last month or two of 2018. We finished 2018 with a 71% accuracy, getting the high temperature right for the next day within 2 degrees. And yeah, that's pretty close to where our long-term average is. It was down a hair. In full disclosure here, it was down a hair from the year before, but our overall accuracy scores for all 7 days of the forecast, including both highs and lows, were significantly better in 2018 than the previous couple of years. So did a little bit worse on the next day's highs, but overall our forecast accuracy did improve as we went through the calendar year 2018. All right, today was an above average day. We should be at 33 at this time of the year. We stopped at 38 this afternoon. Lots of above average temperatures from Michigan, Indiana on east, west of our area, out into parts of the Plain States, into the Midwest. Some below average temperatures for those locations today. All right, a little bit of astronomy geeks tonight. The Earth in its trip around the sun will reach its nearest point to the sun tonight at 12:19 a.m. This is what we call perihelion. And the opposite of this occurs in the summertime. It's a little bit counterintuitive, and I'll explain a little more in just a second. But first, some fun stats here. We are at 12:19 tonight, 91,403,554 miles away from the sun, which is about 3.1 million miles closer than aphelion. An aphelion is what happens in July, the first week of July, and this year it happens to fall on July 4th. That's the point in which we're farthest away from the sun. It's a little counterintuitive. It's winter here. We're close to the sun, but the distance to the sun really doesn't have any impact on our seasons, of course. It really has no impact on our day-to-day weather. The reason for the seasons, the Earth's tilt relative to the sun, and here in the northern hemisphere, in the winter time, we are tilted away from the sun, and so the most direct rays from the sun are pointed at the southern hemisphere, and that's why, of course, the southern hemisphere gets their summer at this time of the year. All right, where's winter? It's not here. It's where you wouldn't expect it to be necessarily, in parts of Oklahoma and Texas, where a winter storm warning is in effect from northwest of Dallas up through the Oklahoma City area, mostly for ice concerns here. When you see these pinks and peaches, it's never a good thing on the radar, and yeah, some ice accretion can occur, along with some snow in some spots in northern Texas and Oklahoma tonight. This is an area of low pressure that will probably have no impact on our weather here locally, aside from some clouds, maybe tomorrow night, or I should say Friday night, and heading into first thing Saturday morning. Rain extends out to the east, but as you'll see when I show you Futurecast in a second here, this is probably going to be a miss to the south and east for us. What won't be a miss for us is this little disturbance, kind of a blink and you missed it kind of a thing, heading through the Great Lakes tonight with some light snow up here, some raindrops trying to form over Lake Erie. This will be low impact stuff for us tonight. I think in a few hours, towards 11 o'clock midnight or so, it can be a couple of raindrops around, a little drizzle through the overnight. Maybe you see a snowflake or two, but again, non-impactful stuff. It's gone by tomorrow morning. And another cloudy start to the day tomorrow, but finally I think we'll get into some sun tomorrow afternoon. It'll be a marked improvement over the last couple of days. 2019 is open on a pretty cloudy note. No surprise. This is a cloudy part of the country at this time of the year. We see a lot of cloudy days, and we've had that for the first 2 days of the year. But we'll see some sun tomorrow afternoon. We'll see sunshine for a good deal of Friday as well. Now, I do think there can be a veil of high clouds, making the sky a little bit milky on Friday, but overall, pretty nice day, and temperatures get well into the 40s. Now, the model trends with this system coming east have been south and east, with the last few runs of our short-range modeling here suggesting that really it's from Pittsburgh south and east. We have a good chance of seeing some rain Friday night and Saturday morning. We might start with a veil of clouds Saturday morning, but I think it turns fairly sunny. The rest of the weekend is looking good. This is not your pattern if you're a snow lover. Here's the next week worth of snow on our models here, the European, the GFS, and the GFS Ensemble, showing a little uptick maybe towards the middle of next week. I think this is mostly just innocuous flurries and snow showers for Tuesday evening into Tuesday night. Maybe some leftover flurries into Wednesday. I don't think we're plowing anything or shoveling anything anytime in the foreseeable future. Now, compared to last winter, of course, we're running below last winter's snowfall. It may not be as far below last year as you may think, and that's because we actually had a decent amount of snow this year in November. We've had hardly anything in the last 3 weeks, really just trace amounts. Last year, through the second day of January, we had 24.4 inches worth of snow. This year, our running tally at the Youngstown Warren Airport is 11.8. We're not going to add to that much anytime real soon. This is a blowtorch-looking pattern in the medium range, and when I say blowtorch, that's kind of weather geek slang for a warm pattern in the winter. Typically in the winter, when you see lots of reds on this map, you'll see meteorologists on Twitter and other forums saying, blowtorch. It just looks like the Pacific jet stream is aiming a blowtorch at the lower 48 states and keeping us in the warm air compared to average and keeping all the Arctic air bottled up. So I don't see a return of any sort of sustained below average air. I don't see a return of any sort of wintry pattern as far as snow goes anytime through the middle of the month. And I talked a little bit about this a few days ago. Head over to my blog, ericwfmj.com, for a complete January forecast. And yeah, I'm a little bit concerned about our winter forecast turning out to be a bust this year if it doesn't turn really, really cold at the end of January and into February. Because if it doesn't turn really, really cold, which was part of our forecast, we did say that February could be really, really cold. But if it doesn't work out that February is that cold, then our winter forecast will not be a good one this year. It's been a little warmer than I expected, especially with the upcoming pattern. December was always going to be kind of a benign month. That was okay, but we didn't expect January to turn out like it looks like it's going to, at least through the first half of the month, maybe even longer than that. So, again, I'm not a big fan of cold and snow necessarily, but I'm not a big fan at all of getting the forecast wrong. I'd rather get the forecast right. So, a little bit nervous about the winter forecast at this point. I'll have more updates on the longer range on future editions of Weather for Weather Geeks. Have a great Wednesday night, everyone. I'll see you back here tomorrow.